Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 157. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zebrolf. We're going to be talking about Captain America Brave New World, the newest installment in the Marvel MCU. We're going to be talking about the last couple of episodes of the Spider-Man animated series, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and the first 4 episodes of Invincible Season 3, and probably a couple of nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video on your way out. Without further ado, here we go. What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey man, how you doing? Doing all right. How you been?
I've been good, bro. I've been good. We haven't sat down in like 2 weeks, so there's been like a bit of content that's built up that we need to talk about. We've had like Disney Plus shows and Prime shows and a fucking like MCU movie and everything. I'm like, holy shit, like this, I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot going on at the moment. I kind of, I'm not going to complain about having loads of content to talk about, but I just kind of wish it was spread out a little more just to kind of give
Yeah.
us a bit more time to focus on it a bit better, because I kind of feel like some of this stuff that we're not going to really go massively in depth to some of this stuff just because there's so many episodes to talk about. Like, we have 4 episodes
Mm.
of Invincible. There was like 5 episodes of the Spidey show, and then we have a movie to talk about as well. And then, you know, any other nerdy news in between. So like if people come in and the conversation starts going one way or another, like, it's going to be hard to kind of track it all. But look, let's do our best. I suppose we could probably just kick straight into it. I know you told me offline your voice is kind of suffering a bit because you're recovering from an illness. So if your voice gets a
Yeah.
bit shaky, I'm gonna try to do most of the talking. Um, so
Appreciate.
yeah,
I
just
appreciate it.
yeah, just like dip in as much as you can. Like it's fine. Like, and if we need to kind of blow it up a little early, we can. Like it's no big deal. Um, we'll hopefully be doing a couple of consecutive episodes over the next couple of weeks. So you know what I mean? We'll have time to kind of go in through this stuff a little deeper as well if we need to,
Mm.
Um, just kind of off the top as well. Like obviously the Spider-Man show's finished now, but in 2 weeks' time we have Daredevil starting up, which is like I'm gonna be so fucking hyped. Like it's my most anticipated MCU project for the year. So we're eating good, bro. We're eating good. 2025's off to a good start. So let's tip into Captain America first of all. I'd say is probably the best place to start. Um, is it the first kind of movie? Like again, I'm trying to think. Like obviously we had Deadpool and Wolverine, which I know technically is MCU, but it's not really MCU. Like what was the last like MCU movie that we had? I'm trying to think right now.
I mean, that's all I can think about is Deadpool and Wolverine.
I know. Like there was only one movie released last year. The year before that, God, I'm actually blanking right now. Someone in the comments tell me or whatever. Like, what was the MCU movie previous to this? Like, I was it something like wasn't like Shang-Chi or something, was it? No, couldn't have
Uh,
been.
no.
Anyway, it's the first MCU movie in a while. Um, we have a good few movies coming out this year. We've got Thunderbolts as well. We've got the Fantastic Four coming out in July. So, like, I think MCU's kind of packed this year, which is great. What did you think of Marvel's first installment on the big screen this year? Did you like the movie? I know you're a big Hulk fan. This to be and to a lot of people kind of feels like the Incredible Hulk 2 without the Hulk in it. It kind of felt like a Hulk movie just without the Hulk in it. So I haven't spoke to you at all. Like I'm getting your raw reaction right now. So I don't know if you liked it, if you hated it. I gave it a 6.8 on my first kind of I put a video up on the channel because we hadn't been live in a bit. I was like, I'll upload something. So I just put up a little video of my kind of initial reactions the day after I saw the movie. I was live
Mm.
over on Twitch and I kind of just, people were asking me in the chat and I kind of just put down my initial thoughts. But I'm curious, what do you think? Did you see it on opening day or when did you actually
Y-
watch it?
Yeah, I saw it on Thursday on the 13th instead
Okay,
of the
okay.
14th. So
Right, okay, nice.
I was able to check it out a little bit sooner.
Yeah, nice.
Like around 7 o'clock, like not even like a midnight shot or anything.
Hmm.
So I was able to see it pretty well in the day. And
Cool.
I was still kind of sick at the time. So like it was, but you could hear the rest of the people in the theater. They
Yeah.
were having trouble. They were like coughing and hacking and whatnot.
Oh
So it
shit,
wasn't
yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
I know like it seems like there was a wave going through. But other than that, like the movie was okay. It wasn't like, oh my God, it was amazing, but it was just like it had this it had a nice touch to it. I understand what the theme was, and I think it hit the nail on the head with the theme,
Hmm.
but in terms of like how they got there was kind of, it was a little bit rough, you
Yeah,
know, because if you think about it, you know, they were trying to use characters that don't necessarily pertain to Captain America all too well. And
especially Sam Wilson as well. Like,
no, not even Sam. Sam is fine. That's the whole point of it. Is Sam.
yeah,
It's Ross and like the leader.
yeah,
Like he didn't even call himself the leader. He tried to call. He's calling himself the hero. And I was like, "What the hell? The hell is the
yeah,
matter with you?" It
yeah.
was just. I don't think that the design for the leader was very good. I don't even think that the design for Red Hulk was good, um,
Mm,
considering that it was just a like a CGI Harrison Ford. You can still tell it looked like Harrison Ford. It didn't really try to make him look like a monster in any way.
mhm.
And that's the whole point of these, like, of the Hulk variants, is that they
Yeah,
kind of look like monsters,
yeah,
except for the She-Hulk variants where they just look like badass versions of themselves.
right. Yeah, like I feel the same. You know, there was a couple of like concept leaked art for the leader going around on TikTok and Twitter and all these places,
And it
and they
looked
look,
better.
yeah, it looked better. It genuinely looked better than what we got in the end. I was kind of saying, it kind of looked like a fucking like car battery exploded in his face or something. Like it was kind of like just,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is really weird because I saw one picture and it was like his head looked a bit bigger, like longer, which kind of ties into what happened at the very end of the Incredible Hulk, where like you kind of the last shot we saw of him was his head starting to expand.
Yeah.
So I was like, that makes sense. Like, he kind of looks like a cone head or whatever, and he's got hair on the top, but he's green and he's got a goatee and all. I was like, this kind of makes sense. But then they seem to just like in the final cut, just go a completely different way with it. Like, so, like, because I saw there was like some leaked like behind the scenes stuff, and he looked more like the concept art than he did his final form. So it's kind of strange that they went that way with it. I'd love to know like what kind of drove the decision to go that way, because it's a real out there kind of look for him. And I know maybe they were kind of just trying to go on the scare factor and make him look like a lunatic or something, but it was a weird choice, bro. Weird.
Very weird, considering like he's a lot more articulate about the things that he does, and like you can kind of feel it
Yeah.
whenever you're not seeing him on the screen. What I would say is like he actually did a pretty good job portraying the leader, but I think it was a little more done in terms of like what's the word? Like I'm just trying to get revenge, where it's not so much that he's trying to get revenge, he's just trying to get back what he deserves.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird because he's the one that gave Ross like the basically the Red Hulk kind of
Yeah.
gene, like,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting, but the fact that he didn't want to take that for himself is very odd because the leader believes that the Hulk's powers are his.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a bit
So
strange.
yeah, so why wouldn't he just use those powers for himself? And I understand he's trying to like the whole revenge kind of scheme. I get it,
Yeah.
but like it just didn't seem to fit the theme to me as well as I wanted it to. I think they could have
Yeah.
done a much better job, um, like explaining that he's just trying to basically leave
Mm.
and do his own thing, and he's smart enough to do so. So I don't know why he's acting like he's uh, so like
Trapped in this
inclined to,
prison.
yeah, because he's like, oh, I just want to be pardoned. It's like you're a fucking villain. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
who
Get
who
your own posse
cares?
and just start doing evil shit like
Yeah,
like
just
all the other villains.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like
it was a bit weird, bro. It was like it's like how did Ross just keep him prisoner for so long as well? Like, because it's like it's been 17 years, right? And
right.
it's like he's meant to have had the leader under his thumb the entire time, and he's creating this medication which is saving his life. Well, little does he know it's actually turning him into the Red Hulk. It's like it kind of feels like he's been under like the thumb of Ross for like 17 years and not been smart enough. Like, the whole movie, he's kind of talking about like how he knows I've done the calculations, I've done the probabilities, this is what's happening. It's like, could you not like do these calculations on yourself and see that you're getting played? You know what I mean? It's like so fucking
Right.
obvious that you're being played and you're not going to be pardoned, you're not going to be set free. Like, could you not have seen that coming a mile off? Like, it's been 17 years you've been trying to get this pardon or something. It just felt, I don't know, bro. It felt kind of rushed. It felt kind of lazy. Um, I just you know, I think it would have been a better payoff if Red Hulk wasn't in the promo, and then we kind of just were blown away by, like, the scene where he changes into the Red Hulk. Like, imagine we didn't know that was coming, and that just happened. You'd be like, "What the fuck? It's like Ross is the Red Hulk. Holy shit!" Like, again, big sweaty nerds will know that this is coming, but the general population would be like, "What the fuck is going on? There's Red Hulks now!" Like, the way the reporter of the movie, they're red now. Like, that's what a lot of normal people would be like. They'd be like, "What the
They
fuck is
fly
going
now?
on?" Yeah, yeah. They'd be like, "What the hell is going on?" And I think that would have been really good. Now, I kind of understand from Marvel's point of view, they really had to promote the Red Hulk thing, because if you take the Red Hulk out of this movie, like, what's the movie really about? Like, it's not like the story felt kind of flat to me, you know? Like, I'm not gonna just sit here and shit all over the movie for the next half an hour. Like, there was parts of it that I liked. I've never been a big Sam Wilson fan, as you know, but I did enjoy a lot of, like, the combat and, a bit of the banter in it left. Like, I loved all the Isaiah Bradley stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I liked the little Bucky cameo was kind of cool as well. Like, some of the, like, the fighting and stuff seemed a bit ridiculous. Like, I hate the when he
Uh,
drops, like, subsonic and hits the ground, and it's like his legs will be shattered. He's a human. Like, it's like it took me out of it. It just felt so weird, you know.
on
Um,
it really felt a little too choreographed, didn't it?
yeah, some of it did. Some of it felt okay. Like, there was a couple of leaked scenes that went up online the week before the movie came out, and I watched those scenes, but they weren't finished. And when those scenes came up in the movie, they actually worked better in the final cut, because they had, like, tense music in the background and maybe some more
Mhm.
like sound effects of, like, shit breaking and stuff like that. So it kind of felt better. Or maybe it was the fact that I was watching it in, like, Dolby IMAX. I don't know. But when I watched those clips online, it was like terrible. Really, really bad. But then when I
Mhm.
watched them in the movie, I don't know if it was just the fact that you were watching it in order and it kind of flowed better or something. Like, instead of it being like an out of context scene, it did flow better. But, like, for the most part, I don't know, like, it was fine. Like, as I said, I gave it a 6.8. I think, I checked IMDb before we went live here. It's sitting on a 6.1 right now. The box office is just at about 200 million. I'm surprised at the numbers it's actually bringing in. I think the rating is probably fair, though. I don't think it really deserves much more. Like, I see, like, some people, like, giving it a 2. I'm like, you're ridiculous. It's not that bad. It's not the fucking
Yeah, it's
worst.
not that
Yeah, no, it's
bad.
not. Definitely not. It's watchable. Some parts were enjoyable. I had a couple of laughs. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of ticking the boxes of a superhero movie. Obviously, I would like it to be better. I would like the story to kind of fit better, and I felt like some of the choreography was kind of bad. Not the choreography. Some of the dialogue was bad, and some of the jokes just didn't land. I didn't really like the new Falcon as well. I'm not a big fan of him. He just seems like real kind of cheesy and geeky, and it just
He
seems like a little
I
idiot. Like, I'm just kind of like, bro, just calm down. Like,
really? Like,
I don't like it at all, bro. Like, when he takes down the guy and he's like dancing around, he's like, I'm the best and all. It's like, oh, bro, stop. Wasn't into it at all. Like, I even
eh,
turned to my missus during the watching of it, like, in the middle of the theater. I turned to my missus. I was like, oh, no. I was like, I don't like this kid at all.
really? I thought he wasn't bad at all, honestly. I liked his demeanor. I thought it worked really well, especially with Sam, considering that he kind of matches that energy like in the normal sense because he has his quips as well. And I thought it worked really well. Like if it was like that guy and Chris Evans, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like Sam Wilson himself is goofy enough. So this is like they've gone goofy times five, like, for this guy to kind of make Sam feel more mature and stuff. Because, like, when we kind of first come across Sam, he's a little more like that, and Mackie's very much like that in real life as well. So I'm kind of like, I have enough of that. I don't need that times fucking five for his new sidekick. Like, it's
Hmm.
my personal preference. I know a lot of people enjoy him. I don't. That's just the way it is. Like, can't like it all, unfortunately. I did like Harrison Ford in the movie. I did feel there were some scenes where it kind of felt like there just wasn't enough material for Harrison to act right. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but, like, there was some scenes where I don't know if it was the script, the writing was just really bad, or the dialogue was just poor, and, like, you could see that Harrison just wasn't being directed properly. I think that kind of just stood out to me in some scenes. And I just got because that Harrison's a good actor, you know what I mean? And there's some scenes where it's just like it just felt like it didn't work. And I think that's just down to just poor script, or
Mm.
maybe poor direction. I don't know. But for the most part, I think he kind of saved the movie in a lot of senses for me. Like I thought he was really good. I was again, I don't really know much of the history of the Red Hulk and stuff like that, but I was listening to Den of Nerds podcast and he was talking about it. Shout out to Josh. He's always feeding me full of knowledge. But he was saying that like some of the original Red Hulk comics, they didn't know who the Red Hulk was for a long time. He kept kind of just bursting in and causing ructions and then disappearing, and he would transform back into Ross, but no one knew it was Ross. And then it was like a kind of
Right.
reveal. I would have
Which is
liked that to happen.
that's what they should have done in the first
Yeah,
place. They should have just
yeah,
had a Red Hulk
yeah,
out of nowhere, and they
yeah,
would have had like even if the leader was involved,
yeah,
like and like all of a sudden you see the Red Hulk, and then like he could just claim that he's controlling him, but in
yeah,
reality he's not. He was just using him as a scapegoat, so they
yeah,
can use like essentially like amass whatever weaponry or goons that he can get, and then like create his own posse of villains, and then essentially do his own thing and be like, "See you later. You're dealing with that now." Like, who cares? Like that would have been fun.
yeah. Like
But
imagine if you had the Red Hulk appear in like Act One, late Act One, start of Act Two, and like just it just happens out of the blue, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? There's a fucking Hulk! Holy shit!" And then the next scene you see Ross, and then you see the Red Hulk, and then they don't like there's a bit of mystery to it, and then you find out that you finally see that transformation that we see at the end at the press conference, and then that goes into the final fight. That would have been cool because people were like, "Holy shit, it was Ross the whole time." But
well,
yeah, it just
well,
I don't know, it just felt so rushed.
well, even then, I would have put him at the beginning. I would have just had him commit like create chaos, and then eventually we see it on the news. You see Sam like seeing it on the news, and they're like, "There's this Hulk that's been going around causing mayhem," and Captain America's like, "Bruce or anything?" Like Bruce isn't anywhere near here, or like
Yeah,
he's just saying like Bruce shouldn't be around here. It's like, oh no, this one is red. It's like,
yeah.
oh okay, well then
Red, geez, I better call Bruce.
right.
Where's Bruce at, guys? Why is the Hulk not helping us here?
Right. So then like well, like not that tongue in cheek. That would be dumb. I wouldn't like that at all.
That'd be
I
too real. That'd be real though. Like, and as well, sorry, like, like Bucky, like sees all this happen, and it's just like, ah, yeah, Sam will be grand. Like, don't worry about it. Like, where, like, is there no other heroes that can help Sam anywhere in the vicinity? Like Sam's left fighting a Hulk by himself. It's kind of wild.
which is I mean, it's fine. It's not gonna be like an easy way of doing this, but like it'll be somewhat like of a struggle, which I think is necessary. But this is what I'm talking about. Like it's so hard to set this up properly without having the actual Hulk.
Yeah.
This isn't a movie to just throw a Hulk in. Like you literally need you need the Hulk.
Well, Bruce was referenced a couple of times in the movie, and I was kind of sitting there the entire time going, like, maybe he won't be in the final fight, but he'll show up at the very end, or he'll be in an after credit scene and be like, Jesus, hey Sam, well done. Like, sorry, I couldn't help. I was blah blah blah. Like, at least explain where the fuck he is, like, or something. But there's like no mention, like, there's no actual mention to like, there's references to Bruce from the past, but there's no like mention of to where Bruce is right now, what he's up to. Like, it would have been kind of like they could have even just put a quick scene in where maybe like Mackie checks his phone or something and is like, oh no, Bruce is in Mexico. What the fuck? Who's this? Like, or you know what I mean? Like just anything, like just try and connect it.
I know,
So
but
annoying.
but the more you talk about it, the more it still doesn't work. It just you have to have him in the movie. You
I
need
would
to
have
have you
I
need
would
to
have
have a
100%.
reason for him. You would have 100% like wanted him to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like it
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean? You've got the leader, you've got Red Hulk slash Ross, you've got the return of Betty in this movie as well. I know it's only for a second at the end, but it's like these are all key characters from his first movie. And it just felt so weird that he wasn't in it at all.
Right. And
So weird.
it's a very strange situation because you're not giving anything to anyone at this point. You're just trying to you're trying to establish these characters at a point where it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
You're not trying to give you're not trying to give Red Hulk any sort of agency. You're not trying to give the leader any sort of agency. You're just kind of throwing them in because you have the right to do so, and it somehow fits for your script. But in reality, it doesn't. Like it there's no it doesn't have any legs. There's no legs to stand on for it. I don't know what they were thinking. It just doesn't seem to. It doesn't click with me, man. Like if they had done exactly what we were thinking and basically just put the Hulk in or Banner, and then like, you know, this whole situation of like it's you, and it's like it's not me. Like I haven't changed in a while. Like I'm like I don't know what you're talking about. Like look at me, I'm green. Like I'm not red. Like even if he was like the regular Hulk, the smart Hulk, I like that would have been much better than nothing. But like it's just it's so off-putting that they would like treat this as like a Godzilla movie where it's like, oh, is he gonna change? Oh, is he? No, he's not changing yet. But at the end, we get to see him, and it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, just give it, like, give the show some legs, give it something for it to stand on, and obviously you needed Hulk for this. You needed to have the big green guy handle all of the business. You needed to have Sam working alongside him so that they can clear his fucking name.
Yeah.
Which would have been a really good story, is clearing his name. And it is just so fucking like underwhelming.
Yeah, no, it really was. It really was. Like, I was watching a video the other day. I can't remember what the video was, but someone made a very good point that it was like, you know, a lot of these movies that we've seen in the last little while, it's like they're not really fighting like their known villains. They're kind of like pushing these stories out and trying to mix and match stuff a lot. And like this movie is a perfect example of it's like, why the hell is Sam Wilson fighting the Red Hulk? Like it doesn't really line up to, you know, Captain America's villains, which you kind of mentioned at the start. Like it's like it just felt really out of place. And like Thunderbolts are going up against like Sentry and stuff. Like it's like it just doesn't really feel in line with comic books and in line with the source material, you know. It just seems like a bit strange.
They like, I don't know if they're just throwing darts and going
mix and match, like flipping cards. Like, okay, so it's like, who's the Fantastic Four villain going to be? Oh, Galactus. Okay, that kind of works. Like, we got lucky this time.
We got real lucky.
Yeah.
It's like Galactus, but it's sitting right next to fucking MODOK. It's like, oh shit, we almost had to do that again.
We were close. But that wouldn't fucking surprise me either, though. Like, you know, they're like, oh well, it landed on MODOK. We're doing MODOK again. You know, that honestly wouldn't fucking surprise me at this point. Yeah, trying to talk nicely about this movie as well. I did like in the final fight where like he kept like shooting like daggers, like which were like meant to be feathers off the wing, and they were vibranium, and they were like penetrating skin and stuff. That was cool. That was cool. I was liking that, and I was like, oh, like, you know, maybe he'll like throw bigger ones and they'll do more damage or something like that. Like, because I was like, this is his only fucking weapon in this fight. Like, because, you know, he takes a punch, game over. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the wings are vibranium. He has like the kind of nanotech helmet, but like that's kind of it, really, right? Like the suit itself isn't vibranium. Like or it might be like a kind of vibranium material or whatever, but like it's not like a full suit. Like he's not like Iron Man. Like it's not like a full suit of vibranium. Now maybe the last suit is, but like it kind of felt like he just couldn't really do much, you know. Like if the wings go out of action, he's a goner, like, you know. So it's like how much can they do with the wings is the point I'm making, you know. And like the first suit like gets like damaged by like a regular knife during that fight with just the random tug, and then, you know, in that same suit, like he drops like supersonically and lands on his feet, and I was kind of just like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I know we're watching comic book movies, but come on, like I was like, that is ridiculous. Like he
has to stop himself at some point.
He breaks the sound barrier, just hits the ground at like, you know, fucking 600 miles an hour, and it's like, wait for it. And then boom. It's like, what the fuck? It's like his whole body he'd be crushed like a Coke can. Like, you know, I was like, this is crazy. And I think I saw some when I mentioned this in my chat the other day. So it was like, oh, well, Iron Man does that all the time, and it's like, yeah, but he's got like thrusters and he
He's
kind of
in a
slows
suit.
down, and he's in a suit of armor as well. Like so,
It's
like he's
fully
in a
padded.
shell. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I know like it would probably hurt him over time as well, but it's like let's kind of try to be a little real at this point. I know it's a superhero shit, so you're not going to be real, but
You have to like you have to deal with some realities, but at the same time, it's a movie.
yeah. Yo, Derpy, welcome in. Let me clarify that the city of Philadelphia made more violence after the winning of the Super Bowl than the Red Hulk did in this movie. I'll just read that out for anybody who might be listening to the podcast. Welcome in. Appreciate the comments.
All he did was destroy the White House and then destroy like some trees and a street, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, I suppose at least it wasn't too bad.
Oh, and the and the monument, the Washington Monument,
and his favorite place to walk with his daughter got pretty fucked up as well. The blossoms. Yeah. So Betty's not going to be too happy about that, I'm sure.
God, Ross gave up so fucking easily.
Yeah. He just had to they just had to mention Betty, and it was like, boom, game over.
He could have just
finished.
left. Yeah, he could have just left.
So I was thinking about this while you were talking as well. It's like, obviously Incredible Hulk 1 happened in 2008. This is kind of, it really does feel like a sequel to it, but because there's a lot of mentions of Bruce, and I don't know if this happened for you, but when I was watching the movie as well, every time they mentioned Bruce, I thought of Edward Norton because I was so in that mindset of the first movie that every time they mentioned Banner, I was thinking of Edward Norton, not fucking Ruffalo, which is so weird. But like, correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously we know that Ross and Banner have like a very kind of heated history with each other, right? Obviously after the events of the first movie, but then obviously Ross goes on after that. He starts working with the Avengers, and then he goes against the Avengers, and he's creating the Accords and all this sort of stuff. But you don't really kind of see Ross and Ruffalo button heads too much. They kind of stay away from each other. It's kind of weird. And now it's kind of like they're kind of bringing it all back 17 years later. It just felt like really kind of weird to me, storytelling wise. Like, this is meant to be a connected universe. Like, you would think at this stage that they'd all have moved on. Like, it's like, I don't know. It just felt a bit weird.
So I compare that akin to the toxic relationship where, you kind of separated for a while. You're at your friend's house and the boyfriend tries to call the girl and she doesn't want to talk to him. So you use like Captain America or Iron Man to talk to Ross instead of Bruce.
Yeah.
Like, to give no sense of connection to Ross whatsoever, as if they've completely broken up. And it's just, it's the weirdest fucking thing, man. Like, you have no connections after the 2008 movie. And it's like, what do you like? Are you not going to establish anything whatsoever? Is this like, is it because of, God, do they have the rights to Hulk yet, or do they just have the rights to Red Hulk?
I think they have pretty much the rights to Hulk now fully, but I think there's some like
distribution rights.
Yeah, distribution rights, I think, or go to Paramount or something.
And there's something like there's such bitches about it, dude. Like, you're working with Sony to do Spider-Man. Why can't you do the same thing?
Yeah. And like, I think they are, because I think there is a Hulk movie coming, but this would have been a perfect place for a Ruffalo cameo, and it would have just made so much sense. And I think it would have just made people maybe, it might have made the story work a little better. I'm not saying put Ruffalo in as like a second lead or something.
No, like, you have to. You have to, man.
Look, obviously, in an ideal world, yes, that's the way it works. But I understand from a business point of view, you can't bring Ruffalo in and turn it into the Hulk 2 when you're trying to push Mackie to the front of pop culture. Like, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Mackie.
Wait. But you said it yourself a long time ago, Finto, that Hulk can't have his own, like, Hulk can't be the main character in his own movie. And even I agree with that, because I've seen Planet Hulk. A lot of the times the characters that are portrayed in that movie are talking way more than Hulk. They just need him. That's all I'm saying. You don't
Yeah,
have to put him in the front. Just put him on the
I
side
know, but
and he'll
when
still
you
work.
when you put him in anything, he does kind of take over. He's got that presence. It does become, for a lot of people, the Hulk show. And I think from a business point of view, they're like, this is Anthony Mackie's first time in a leading role. It's his movie. We got to make it all about Sam. It has to
Oh,
be about
boo,
Sam.
boo, fucking
That is
who.
it,
I don't
though.
give a shit.
I know you don't, but that's the business decision. That's what Disney are thinking.
Well,
That's
they
what
put him
Marvel are
at
doing.
but that's the problem is that they don't understand that if you put your person at the forefront and you give him screen time, then by all means, give him the meaning of like why he's in the front.
Yeah,
Like give everyone a reason to understand why he deserves to be at the front. And they do in the movie, in my opinion, they do in the movie, but they just don't have a story behind it to give it as much agency.
yeah,
You know, like I really liked the conversations that he had with Ross, with Isaiah, with anybody. Basically, he was saying like I'm taking up the mantle. I understand that I'm a black Captain America, but I'm now Captain America. So you
yeah,
had to respect me as Captain America in that sense. And I'm trying to show everybody that I matter, that I can do the things that Captain America does.
yeah.
I'm just in a different suit. And I felt that, but like none of the story really gave anything to like make me feel like I wanted to see more.
Yeah. Like, where do they go from here? Like, is Sam going to be the leader of the next Avengers? Like, do you believe that? Can you buy that? Like,
He's going to have to be.
can you imagine a new lineup? Like, Doctor Strange, they're all about to fight Doom. It's Doctor Strange, it's Thor, it's Spider-Man, it's the Widows, whatever the fuck. Like, can you imagine like Sam at the front giving orders to Thor and all this? I
Yes.
can't, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't see it, bro.
No, because you killed two of the fucking leaders. You
Yeah,
killed Iron Man, which is supposed to be taking over,
yeah,
and you killed off fucking Captain America, like in the sense that like he's supposed to be running the gig. So like if it's Sam, it absolutely is Sam.
yeah,
You can't say otherwise. No one else can handle the same shit that like the leader of the Avengers can, besides Captain America and Thor. Because at the very or not Thor, I mean Iron Man.
mhm,
Because at the least with Iron Man, he understands like the infrastructure of the world, and he understands he wants to put a shield around the world. He wants to put a suit of iron. He wants to protect it. So like Thor doesn't live on Earth. He gets to live on Earth.
yeah,
Like the Black Widows are an undercover agency. They can't stand at the forefront. You have Clint who can't stand at the forefront because he's also doing covert work. You can't have Doctor Strange because he works with the mystic arts and it's an underground kind of situation. People aren't supposed to know about magic.
yeah.
Like you can't. You have to give the mantle to Captain America or Iron Man. And guess what? We have Sam. So we're gonna have a Captain America at the forefront. Deal with it.
Yeah. It's not it's I don't know. It's just, again, it's like he's not a super soldier. He's not really like uh, he just doesn't feel like Captain America to me yet. Um
Natasha's not a super soldier.
she's not the leader of the Avengers either though, and she never will be. But the
For,
point I'm
but
making
like
is like Sam is I don't look at Sam and think like, yeah, this guy's a leader. He's going to be, ordering around 1,500-year-old gods and, superheroes, like
because
actual
because
superheroes.
they're not trying to give him the role. They
Yeah.
keep giving him
Well,
they
I
keep giving
suppose
him shit stories.
he's going to have to just take it, I suppose. Like
W-
like at the end of
Yeah,
the movie, the after credit scene is kind of, the classic, there's a storm coming. And it's like, I presume now what's going to happen is Sam's going to go out and reform the Avengers. And in doing that action is kind of taking the mantle as leader, no matter what. Like, he's like, if he reforms them, he's the leader, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, it's a forced situation, man. Like I said, who else is going to take over? You can't have Banner take over. What if he
I'd like,
gets too mad?
yeah, I'd kind of like Spider-Man maybe. Because
No,
again,
because
now
he's too young
but no
and
one
he's
knows who he is now.
naive.
but
But
no
he's
one
too
knows who
young
he
and
is now.
naive, dude. You can't have Spider-Man there. You can have
He
an
just saved
adult.
the multiverse, bro.
Nobody knows and nobody cares.
He does. I don't know. I don't know. I think it would have been a natural progression, or ideally, again, real world shit got in the way. But maybe Black Panther would have been great, or maybe,
Yeah, Black Panther would have been fine if they didn't fucking let him go.
well, yeah, and Captain America or Captain Marvel maybe would have worked if people just liked her more. But
I don't honestly, if you're really gonna sit on this fucking hill, Finto, like throw Captain America in it, Captain Marvel in it. I don't give a shit anymore. Just throw her in the fuck in there and have everybody just get used to her. Because like it's turning into that situation now. Like it's either you get Captain America or you get Captain Marvel. Because at this point now, even Monica Rambeau, I don't give a shit about because they've ruined Kamala Khan, they ruined Monica Rambeau, they were like ruined Captain Marvel, they ruined all these different characters that should have had some sort of agency and leadership skills, and none of them can get used to each other. They all fight and they all like finally like they all start to cooperate, but even then at the end of the Marvels you don't even know who's leading it.
yeah. Man, do you know what scares me the most? Like coming out of that movie, it's like there's a real kind of realization that we only have the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and then like the next big thing is Doomsday itself. And it's like the Avengers aren't going to form in Thunderbolts, and if they are, it's going to be like in an after credit scene. We're going to get to see like something happen there or something like that. You know what I mean? And then like realistically, what's probably going to happen in Fantastic Four is there's going to be some sort of incursion or something where, or Galactus like destroys that entire universe. And just in time, Reed Richards makes a machine to send them into the fucking multiverse, and they pop into 616. And at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, Doom is coming," or some shit. Like it's going to be like Thanos. Like they'll kind of redo that shit. But again, realistically, that entire movie is set in a different universe. So like again, by the end of it, the only characters that are going to matter are the actual Fantastic Four. And maybe if the rumors are true that Downey's going to be in that movie, then like obviously he comes through as well, and then he becomes the big bad of the 616 or whatever. I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's no time for connectivity, like connective tissue and like the forming of the Avengers, unless they're going down the road of having Avengers 5 start, and for the first like half of the movie it's Sam Wilson going around trying to reform the team. And that would, to me, maybe it'd be a cool kind of hour of movie watching, but to me that should have been done long before the movie kicks off. Like if you think about Infinity War, it just goes into it like straight in, boom, here we go. Like half of fucking Asgard are gone. We're watching Loki die in the first 5 minutes of the movie. It's insane. And then back to Earth and shit just kicks off, and everyone just kind of comes together naturally. Like is that how are they just going to do that again? Like Doom comes down to Earth and starts fucking up New York, and then just magically everyone is just in New York at the same time. And hey guys, what's up? We're doing it one more time. Like I would love for it to actually connect before this. And I just feel like the projects that are coming don't really provide an opportunity for the Avengers to really form,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of terrifying, because like collectively, I think like the fan base have known for a while that Doomsday needs to be a 10 out of 10. Like it needs to revitalize the fan base and bring people back to it. And I just don't know if it will, like especially after where we were now. I really thought, and I said this last year. What's up, Griff? How are you? I said this last year. I said, you know, my prediction for Deadpool and Wolverine was that, their Fox universe was going to die at the end of the movie. They were going to come into the 616, and then boom, we have like, Wolverine in the 616, Deadpool in the 616, whatever. The movie came and went, and at the end of it, they're back in their own universe. They saved the day, and it's like, okay, I guess they're not coming to the 616. I thought we were going to see an incursion or something, And again, in this movie, I thought by the end of the movie, especially like, you had a mid-credit scene and an after-credit scene. I thought like, or was there a mid-credit scene? I don't even think there was. I think it was just the after-credit. So like, you could have had an opportunity there for two scenes where maybe he meets an Avenger in one and an Avenger in the other, or something. Like, give us a bit of that connective tissue again, please. Like I don't think this is going to happen, but like, like potentially something could happen in Daredevil where there's like mention of a reformation of the Avengers or something like that. Again, I don't think they're going to do it in the Daredevil show. Like this is me like very hopeful thinking like, but it's like, could you get like some sort of a little Spider-Man cameo in Daredevil or something like that? That maybe he speaks about, oh, I got a call from Captain America, or did you see that wild shit that happened on Tiamat Island or something? Like, there's like some sort of mention, and then like maybe Daredevil is like, oh yeah, yeah, look, I'm around if you need me or something. I, like that's the best case scenario for that show, right? And then like Thunderbolts, whatever happens in that movie, by the end of it, we potentially have a second Avengers team formed or something like that. That's again best case scenario. And then like Captain America shows up, hey guys, I need your help. And then like again the team gets bigger, and then like Captain America, Fantastic Four happens, and then boom, we're like right into it. Like so, it feels like we don't have a lot of time. Is the point I'm trying to make, and it's quite scary. It's quite scary.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. The way that they're handling this is very poor. As I told you before, more than likely we're going to be dealing with the West Coast Avengers, which that makes sense to me. I'm okay with that. But they need to start it now.
But I think it's too. I think it's too late to start that now.
No, it's not too late. We don't have a release date for Doomsday. We don't have a release date for the Secret Wars. We don't have a release date for any of that shit. We just know that it's come.
Doomsday starts shooting this year in like September, I think.
Cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
So while they're
coming out next year.
So that means that whatever we have in terms of a group is non-existent in that movie currently. So
yeah,
honestly, they really shouldn't have called it Avengers Doomsday. I really don't think they should do that. I think they should just do a Doom movie.
So
just
shouting out Den of Nerds as well. He has this theory. You know the way like in all the Thunderbolts promo, there's the little asterisks at the end of the name and the logo.
Yeah, it's going to be the Dark Avengers. I already know.
Or New Avengers or something like that. Yeah, so
it better not be New Avengers. It better be fucking Dark Avengers, or I'm walking.
Yeah, something like that is going to happen. Where like, and he thinks what's going to happen is they're actually going to release the movie on day one as the Thunderbolts, and then like a week after the release, they're going to change the name of the film, and it's actually going to just change to like the Dark Avengers or something, like a new team, a new Avengers, or some shit like that, or the B Squad or something. I don't know, but like they're going to actually he thinks the Marvel are going to actually change the name of the movie, which I think it'd be kind of wild.
It's just, but it's such a shit group, dude.
Oh, I fully agree. Now, I've never read a Sentry comic. Like what I've heard about him and like the concepts. I really like the idea of it, like him and the Void, and he's very fucking powerful and stuff. Like I want to see this on the big screen, and I don't know if you saw that latest trailer that dropped, and he's like turning people into like shadows and shit. Like it looks freaky, and like he's the Superman of the MCU. Like so, I'm like, how is this team of people gonna stop him? It's bizarre. Like I just don't know. I don't know how they're gonna get there, but I'm like hopeful that it's gonna be good. I kind of have more hope in the movie being a better film than this movie was. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I don't know how they're gonna get there, and obviously in Captain America we see Bucky's like going into politics and stuff, but now when we're gonna see him in like 3 months' time or 4 months' time, and he's gonna be like the Terminator. So it's like, how do they get there? So I don't know, bro. I know there's a scene in one of the trailers where he looks like he did in Captain America, so I presume that's the very start of the film. And then something happens to maybe if he gets reactivated as the Winter Soldier again or something, he just needs to kind of drop everything when the threat of the Void comes out or something. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just kind of trying to put pieces together myself in my head, but yeah, I don't know. I think that movie has promised to be better, a lot better than what we got with this one. But yet to be seen. Some of the characters in this movie are just like they're not great. Like they're C tier characters. Like not even like co-stars in like a show, like a kind of just supporting actor in a show sort of thing. You know, like I like John Walker. I hope they kind of do him a bit of justice, like because I didn't really like him too much in the show, but
Right.
maybe they make him a bit better in this. Yelena, kind of, I feel like I've had enough of Yelena already. And Red Guardian, I know you hate Red Guardian. I'm not I'm not a big fan of him either. Again, I hope they maybe calm him down a little bit and just let him be a brute like what he is. I don't like Taskmaster. I feel like Taskmaster is not going to be in this movie much anyway. And Ghost is kind of like an
We don't know
irrelevant
shit
character. Yeah,
about Ghosts.
yeah,
We
like
don't know anything about Ghosts.
an irrelevant character, a shit villain from a shit movie that happened in 2018. So it's like, yeah, I don't. They're clutching at straws here for characters for this film. It's fucking
Which is,
crazy.
and it's so fucking dumb because there's fucking tens of thousands of characters that you can
Yeah.
use. It doesn't have to be the ones you've already established. You can keep poking in the fucking wind for something, but you have to give it something, like give us something to like latch onto. And I think they're picking the wrong things because, and I know it's because of the Suicide Squad. I know it's 100% because of the Suicide Squad because it did so well in theaters. For its, like, considering that it was kind of a reboot or reimagining of what the original Suicide Squad should have been.
Yeah.
And because it's James Gunn, he was able to make it funnier or more action packed or gave it some form of agency because it just worked. Like, you actually like the different characters that you came across because they were interesting. They had character. They had, some sort of like inkling about them that you actually liked. And so when you get to this point and you see that Marvel is finally creating the Thunderbolts, it's like, oh shit, well, they already created Suicide Squad. Well, we need to match that energy, don't we? So let's get all these characters that we've already established. We know that they are either part of the Thunderbolts or they're part of the Dark Avengers, which honestly, I would have liked the Dark Avengers from the get-go if they had added Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do that. They want to.
It just doesn't even make any sense, dude. Because it's like everyone loves Zemo, right? So it's like
Right.
give us as much Zemo as possible. But
Give me all the Zemo.
You bring back Ghost and you bring back Taskmaster. Like they are like collectively hated by the entire fan base.
They're like D tier. It's ridiculous.
Z tier, bro. Like all the way at the bottom. All the way at the bottom, bro. They're terrible. Like it's like controversial how bad Taskmaster was to a lot of, like, anyone who knows the actual Taskmaster was like, what the fuck did they do to that character? You know what I mean? So it's like, why are you putting that character in another movie? Like, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. John Walker, I can understand it. He's a super soldier. Was Captain America for a minute. He's relevant, right? US agent. It's cool. I like the actor. It works. John works.
The character is designed to do the things that Captain America can't.
It works.
Yeah.
And like obviously Bucky's great. Yelena, I understand. I kind of feel like I've had enough of Yelena with regards to like her humor and stuff, but I'm gonna obviously enjoy her as a character, like going around kicking the shit out of people and doing cool shit like jumping off buildings and all. Like that'll be great to watch, of course. But I just kind of, her comedy gets very old very fast, so we'll see how they manage it. Maybe
hers is a lot more sarcastic and it kind of doesn't fit with everyone else.
Yeah, like I think of her in like Hawkeye, and the scene where she's like breaks into Kate Bishop's house and she's like, "Hello, Kate Bishop," and she's like, "Are you gonna eat that, Kate Bishop?" and all this stuff, and it's like, what? She's like, Kate's like, why do you keep saying my name and all? It's like, I don't know. She just does stuff like that kind of annoys me, but I know she's a kind of cool character, but maybe they just need to make her a little more serious. Maybe she'll like kind of mature or something as the MCU goes on. Because like if you think about it, Natasha was just, for the most part, stone cold killer, mysterious character. And
but then you get like once in a while you get a little bit.
Yeah, she does warm up and does change over time. But I don't know. I kind of preferred Yelena when you first meet her because again, she's kind of cold and just, you don't know what she's capable of, and she's like just a badass. And then she kind of starts to open up to Natasha a little bit. But now I kind of feel like they're just dumping a lot of kind of like stupid comedy on her now, and it's like, strip it back a bit. Let her be cool again.
That's what I kind of want. That's what I want for Red Guardian. I kind of want it to stop being this whole, in Russia. Like, bro, I get it. I fucking get it. You were cool back then. but you can be cool again if you stop with this bullshit.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Spidey and a little bit about Invincible, and then we can kind of break for the day, because I know your voice is at you, so I don't want to be keeping you here for 2 hours. We're nearly an hour in already, and we haven't even talked about anything else. Spider-Man, all said and done, how do you rate it?
Oh, I give it like a solid 8.
Do you know, I checked IMDb, which is a source that I trust deeply. IMDb scored like a 6.8, which I think is quite low.
I think it's the animation.
Yeah, might be the animation.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough.
It is. I found I got used to it towards the end, but it is a bit of a difficult watch. Now, storytelling wise and everything, I think the show is fucking fantastic.
Spot on.
Yeah, I like it. Voice acting's great. Like it just, and the animation by the end of it really starts to work. I would kind of give it like an 8.5 out of 10, like even like close to a 9. Like I think it's fucking great. Like it's a great Spider-Man story. And I really enjoyed how it finished. I enjoyed how the story progressed. Um, the last episode that we watched together or we reviewed together was episode 5. So episode 6 is the one that was with Daredevil in it. I fucking loved how they like subtly brought his team into it and everything like that. And it actually sounded like Charlie Cox, who was voicing him. The guy, I don't know who voiced him, but it sounded just like Charlie Cox. Like it was crazy.
And that's all you need, man. It doesn't have to be the same voice actor.
It actually was Charlie Cox. Okay, so because I was like, this sounds too good to be true. But I went and checked like the day I watched it, and there was no information on the episode on IMDb. But I've just checked it there, and it actually was Charlie Cox, which makes it so much better for me now. The fact that I know it's Charlie, I was like, fuck yeah, that's so cool. Great episode. It's sitting on an 8.10, or sorry, an 8.0 out of 10. It's fantastic. Episode 7 was like the Scorpion Rising, where he gets the suit and everything, and he's dealing with Doc Ock and all, and it was just again fantastic. Like Ock is like working in the background, kind of kitting up some of the Sinister Six and stuff. And I was just like, this is fucking great. I love it. And that got an 8.5 out of 10 with nearly 1,000 reviews. So it's like these episodes are just like, and for me, this is how the show went. It started off and I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is pretty cool. And every episode it just got better for me. It was like a mountain. Like I was climbing a mountain. It just kept getting better and better and better. And it finished strong. You know, I watched the 2 episodes today and it was fucking great. And like I watched my son was off school this week and he watched the finale with me, and he like it's kind of hard for him to kind of sit through a full thing. Like his attention span's awful. And he even sat and watched the whole episode with me. And at the end he was like, "Are they making more of this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I presume so." Like with the way it ended, like they're definitely like teasing a season 2. And he's like, "Oh, when did this come out?" I was like, "You're watching it like it's like today." I was like, "It's brand new." And he's like, "Oh, wow, that's great." Like, he really enjoyed it. So, that kind of really speaks volumes to me because I just know I've been trying to for years to get him into like watching X-Men cartoons and all this sort of stuff, and he finds it hard to concentrate on stuff. But this show seemed to have like stick with him for some reason. But yeah, I fucking loved it, man. I really did. I really did. I thought it was fucking great. I've heard nothing but good things about the final 2 episodes. Yeah, Griff, they're really good. Like again, I don't know if you, I don't really like. We don't need to go into specifics, but he does get a suit. Like you can see the thumbnail for the episode. Like it's him swinging in on the classic red and blue. So he does get the suit. I think is it Harry helps him design it. I think Harry makes the suit for him. Yeah, that was like the end of last week's episodes. Yeah, like just so good, man. And you could see like Tombstone starting to turn as well. He kind of has the accident, and you could see at the very end of the show his fingertips are starting to go white or gray or whatever. So I was like, he's starting to turn into Tombstone. I was like, that's pretty cool too. And he dumps the jacket and all, and I was just like, oh shit, okay. But I kind of had the feeling that he was gonna like again because it's a different universe. It's the stories can change and stuff. I was kind of thinking like, shit, is he going to be good? Because he's kind of helping Peter out, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe he's going to be a good guy. I don't know. Like they could do that. Like they could do a spin where he's a hero or something. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Again, I don't really want to talk too much about the last 2 episodes, but I really like Norman in it as well. Like, and he's kind of got his like little sinister plan, and also there's a Strange pops in again in like the last episode. There's like a little time loop back to the first episode, and I was like, this is fucking brilliant. I was like, it was really well told story, and I feel like I feel like they did a better job of telling a story than the fucking Captain America movie did. Like, you know what I mean? It's like meant to be like a kids show, like, you know. So it's like, fuck, man, what are we doing here?
Well, I would say yes and no, because and they know what the fuck they're doing because they literally put it tongue in cheek into the fucking episode. You see the time loop,
Yeah,
and then afterwards, Peter's like, "Well, for the things that can be explained, and for the things that can't be explained," and it's like, "Fuck off, dude! You can't create a fucking paradox like this and not explain what the fuck that was."
yeah,
You can't just say you got your powers from yourself, dick.
yeah.
You have to explain that shit. That just means that you weren't the first within the loop.
Man,
How?
I don't like thinking about paradoxes, man. It drives me crazy.
It's a fuck, but it is
The mind
because like
fuck,
how the fuck did you can't, dude? How did you like? It's like the whole like when Fry goes back in time in Futurama and gets with his grandma or
Yeah.
his mom. Like I can't. It's his grandma, yeah, I think. And he's basically like, "You're your own grandfather," and it's like, well, that makes sense because he's like the first of it,
Yeah.
right? He fucked things up. He changed the course of time, but he managed to fix it. And I get
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
like there has to be a first. And there wasn't a first yet. It's just like they had his blood and they were putting it into the spider. So then the spider has his blood. Cool. That's how we get the spider.
Yeah.
And then he goes back in time. It's like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, cool. And then I'm like, wait, no.
Yeah.
What do you mean he gets his powers like this? So you're saying that this isn't the first iteration?
Well, it can't be, right? Because
Right.
like that's not how time travel works, as we've learned. You know,
Right.
like there has to be a start point, and then the new kind of timeline that's made is an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
It's not a change to the original timeline. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So
You're creating a branch timeline.
right.
So
So
yeah,
when you
that's what they've done.
and that's what Strange was saying. He's like, I feel like I fucked it. He literally was like, I feel like I fucked things up. And
Yeah.
Spider-Man's like, no, I think he did just fine. Even if it can't be explained. It's like,
Yeah.
no, dude, you have to explain it.
Come back for season 2.
I don't know if they will ever explain it. I think they're just going to be like, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they might. I don't think that show will.
I mean, I kind of hope they do though, because like I would like to know, are they just fucking with us or and just going, screw you guys. That's just how it happens.
Yeah,
That's just how it feels right now.
doesn't make any sense. What do you think of Invincible?
Oh, it's good, really good so far. I really like all the horrible situations that are happening right now. Like I think it's very much a situation that was going to eventually happen because Cecil wants full control because he thinks that he wants to. He believes that he like is protecting the world by controlling everything around him that can protect the world. But because he can't control Invincible, he feels like Invincible is an anomaly in the sense, and that there's so much to like essentially fear from him. And it's like Cecil says, "Oh, I'm like, you scared the shit out of me," and it's like, no, you didn't scare him whatsoever. I highly doubt that he was scared of Invincible at any point because he knows that there's so much more that they can do. But the only reason why I do believe that he is scared that he's losing control though.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, it makes sense that they're never going to see eye to eye anymore because Cecil wants to essentially be like Thaddeus Ross, where every bit of technology, every bit of information that like exists within this world is mine now. And I will use whatever means necessary to protect my world. Same thing with Ross. Ross wants to protect the world or protect America at the least.
Yeah.
And and believes Hulk is a weapon to be used for America. And so like that's what happens when you see the two ideals clash, because when you see Bruce and Ross, it's like, no, you can't have this. You don't know what to do with this kind of power. Same
Mhm.
thing with Cecil. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You're allowing villains, people who have killed people, to be part of your team.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the same way. Cecil's becoming a villain, and you
Yeah.
see the divide between the two factions, because some of them believe, like, yeah, like, who knows what the fuck Invincible can do, but at the same time, it's like, what do
Fear.
you mean? Like, he's
He's a
been
good guy.
protecting us this whole time. You still don't trust him after
I
all this
suppose
fucking time?
the same thing did happen with his dad, right? Like
Yeah,
Omni-Man, before the show starts, he is the leader of the team, and he is the Superman, and then boom, he just kind of clicks and it's like, oh, actually, I've just been evil this whole time.
right.
So I suppose they just think that could happen. Mark could do the same.
But that's where he's wrong, because
I know.
Mark is born on Earth.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's kind of the whole point, is like, you're looking at this the wrong way. I was born here.
Yeah.
I want to protect this planet as much as you do. I don't want to just,
the fear is always going to be there, though, isn't it? That, like, it's like he is half Viltrumite, so that half could snap and blah blah blah. Like, I understand why they're trying to put safety procedures in place, but I
right.
suppose you have to take the chance, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. I'm loving
Yeah,
it.
because it creates this whole contention, and you really, there's really no saying what'll come out of it. But, like, what I do understand is that out of all the different universes that you see with Mark, his is one of the only ones where he's good.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a scary thought as well, because again, like, things can just happen a certain way, and then boom, he's at Omni-Man's side, and the
Well,
two of them are just like conquerors.
well, and like, this reminds me of, because, like, I know you're not a Warcraft lore kind of person, but, like, in the Warcraft lore, we have a character named Garrosh, and he's kind of a big bad over time. Like, he was with the people, and then he became against the people.
Right.
And then it turns out, in, like, the many universes that they had within this game, that we just happen to be in the universe where he becomes evil. Every other fucking universe, he's a good person.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
So, like, it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, at any point, like, he could snap, but, like, if you don't give him enough reason to want to be there, then what's what's to say that he doesn't just go, fine, fuck it, I'm against you guys. If this means I get to protect you guys, I'm gonna fucking murder all of you until you guys understand that I'm here to protect you.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose like Cecil will just kind of implode himself. I presume that's going to happen. Like, he'll make the mistake of doing something against, the common good or whatever, and people will see him for what he's actually turning into. And then I think
100%.
Mark will be the hero then.
Oh yeah.
I like the story with him and Adam Eve as well, or Atom Eve, of course. Like, it's been a long time coming. I know nothing about the comics. I haven't read any of the comics, so I don't know where the story goes. I think I'm trying to stay off the kind of spoiler Twitter and stuff like that with this show. I don't really see a lot of it, thankfully, but I've seen some kind of bits and a couple of screen grabs from like future comics and stuff, and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to see this shit, like, because I kind of want to try and view it as a newbie. Like, I'm liking not knowing much about it and kind of just being shocked by the developments in the show. Like, have you read all the comics? Like, what's going to happen?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I like, it's just like The Boys. Like, I'm really trying to stay clear of it.
Yeah,
because they're
100%.
already making it. Yeah, they're already making a show of it. Like, I'm not inclined to want to watch, like, or go beyond, because it's not like that heavy on my radar of things.
Yeah. I really love, like, seeing it for the first time in this form, and then I might go back and buy some of the Invincible books afterwards when it's finished and see, like, how it's different from the from the actual show. But, like, I know there was, like, the scene where they go on their date and they're flying around the world and all, like, and I saw people online talking about, like, oh, they, like, this was perfectly adapted from the comics and stuff. So, like, I like hearing that sort of stuff, but like I'm like I don't want to hear anything that hasn't happened yet. Like don't spoil the future for me. You know,
Right.
and it's the same with the boys. I don't want to know. So yeah, like it's nice being in that kind of headspace for a change because obviously with Star Wars and with Marvel and DC and stuff, I feel like we kind of know a lot of what's coming just from being the nerds that we are, and being so clued into comic book lore that goes back so far. Like you can kind of tell where a lot of the stuff is going. It's nice to be a normie in this sense.
Yeah.
I really like the episode with Alan and Nolan as well. Where they're kind of breaking out of the prison and they're just fucking shit up and all. Like I thought that was really cool. And
Yeah, that was
what
a
was
good.
what was
That was a good.
what was Beast something? The fucking big lion dude. What was his name again?
Oh, I fucking forgot, dude.
Something Master Beast or some shit like that. And he's like looking for Viltrumites and shit. Like and he ends up fighting one and stuff. I was like, this is fucking brilliant, man. I love it. It was so good. And then they killed a Viltrumite by like hitting him, like they kind of sandwich his head in between two punches. Oh man, it was just so cool. It was so
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, I'm just like, fuck, this is so good. And like I think like my missus walked in when I was watching that episode, like, and she's not interested in animation at all. Like, so she won't watch any anime with me at all. Like, the only thing that we've watched together is Arcane. Like, she hasn't watched anything else, and I'm just like, you would actually really like the show if you gave it a go. Like, it kind of transcends the media in a sense. Uh, I think like you can kind of like she sat down and watched a bit of it with me before, and she's like, I just don't like how their mouths move with the voiceover and stuff. She's like that, like it kind of gets to her. It distracts her and she can't like pay attention to the show. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, I don't even notice that sort of stuff. Like, and again, I think it's just I just switch my brain off to that stuff. Like, I don't even kind of it doesn't bother me. Like, I know like a lot of people like kind of poke fun at how bad the animation in the show is sometimes, and they even poked fun at themselves last season. Where they're like, "Oh, we use the still shots and to save money. Like we'll do a pan out shot, but it's just a drawing and stuff." And it's funny because I noticed like they've been doing that in this season as well. And like I now like kind of see it coming to my line. I'm like, oh, here they are saving money again, But I think it's funny because it's like at least they're poking fun at it themselves, and I
Right.
kind of I kind of laugh when I see it happen and stuff. But yeah, I don't mind like when you see like Debbie like in the kitchen and she's kind of moving like a robot and kind of like her mouth isn't moving properly and stuff. That shit doesn't bother me, but that it really bothers her. Like, and she's like, I wouldn't be able to watch this for that reason. Like, I'm like, oh, you're really missing out on something great here. Like, but sure, it is what it is. There's no talking her down.
Mm.
Do you have anything else you want to bring up? You want to talk about, or will we end it there?
My voice is starting to kill me.
Yeah, yeah. What I will say is, obviously we've got Daredevil coming up in 2 weeks. I'm rewatching the original show on Disney Plus again. I'm on to season 2. Punisher's just come in. I'm like, fuck yes, man. I love that show so fucking much. Like, honestly, it's the greatest superhero TV series of all time, and I think it will be hard to match it. I think I hope that the new series tips the hat to the original show and like tries to replicate it as much as possible. But
Mm.
I don't think it can be matched, man. It's so 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 good. Like, it's incredible. Um. So yeah, look, there's going to be some great episodes of the podcast coming up. Like, I'm going to be nerding out hard on this show when it comes out. Um. Also, the apparently the runtime. I don't know how true this is. I saw it on Twitter. It could be a lie, but apparently the runtime for Fantastic Four is an hour and 37 minutes. Which again goes back to what I was talking about earlier. And it's like, fuck, they don't have a lot of time to connect everything before Doomsday. And there's like, if this is true, like that runtime is like probably one of the shortest Marvel movies of all time. So that really scares me. Like, I'm like, fuck, like, are they going to be able to tell enough story in that time to make us really
Probably
care?
not.
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
Yeah, probably not. Um, Speaking of Fantastic Four as well, we've got, I think tomorrow or Friday, they're releasing Johnny Storm and the Thing to Marvel Rivals. Did you see any of that? The concept art or anything like that, or any of the gameplay stuff with them? They look really cool. They look really cool. So yeah, maybe we could try and get some games of Rivals in
Sure.
over the
Yeah.
next couple of weeks as well, just to because that was fun when we played it last time. I was playing a bit of it. Was it last night or the night before with a few people from the community, and it was good fun. The game though, like honestly, like again, I'll end at this point, but the game I like it, but it can drive me crazy so quickly as well. Like it goes from being fun to being a fucking head melt in 20 seconds. Like if like one bad round and I could just be so pissed off. I don't know how people play this game for 10 hours a day. Like honestly, I would be up the walls. I'd be going crazy. Like you
Oh,
get
it's
like
so fun, dude.
it is fun. It is fun. And you get a couple of good rounds where you've got a good team working with you and you know what I mean? Like you're actually winning rounds and stuff. But if you get a team that doesn't know what they're doing or are just trying to go around getting kills and you're losing the objectives and you're just losing the matches, it gets so infuriating for me. Like I can't stand it. I can't stand it, man. I don't know how people like fucking Tim the Tap Man play this game for 10 hours a day. Like it's insane. So yeah, we both stream over on Twitch. So you know, if people want to, if you're listening to us for the first time, we're both gamers over on Twitch. You can go over and follow us there. The links are below in the comments. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave us a comment below if you're watching a replay. Let us know what you thought of Cap 4. Are you excited for Thunderbolts? What do you think of Spidey? Are you watching Invincible? All that beautiful stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye
Good one.
bye.